So a lot of Christians have problems with that right now because we have what we're calling an ungodly government. But I want to remind people, the president is not the government.
The people
are the government.
Yep.
That's right. We, little over 200 years ago, formed a republic in which we elect our representatives, right? And so that sword that God gives the government to bear is given to us, the people. And when we vote for somebody, what we are saying is, we wield the sword, but we are going to entrust you with our sword. We're going to give you our sword to wield for us. Please do so. As Christians, we say do so in a godly way. Now, we know that ungodly governments, if you read Chronicles, if you read Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, 1st and 2nd Kings, you find out that governments that are ungodly, God deals with, okay? So we as Christians have got to take, because it is our sword, our government here is us, the people. We are the ones given the sword to wield. That is by our Constitution that we are governed by. You say a Christian constitutionalist. Well, we're a Christian that obeys the law of the land, and the law of the land to us is the Constitution.
Right.
All right? The law of the land is not the president. The law of the land is not the president. It's not Congress. It's the Constitution is our basic law that every other law is formed around.
Let me interrupt here just 1 second. The Constitution is what we go by. Mm-hmm. The Democrats, the opposition are the opposition not only to us, but they are in opposition to the Constitution itself. We try to do everything and write the laws and stuff like that to go along within the constitutional confines. The Democrats have taken the task of saying that we're going to use the Supreme Court and the courts of this country to go around the Constitution, and that's what they've done.
And you're exactly right. And so what's happening here is the ones that are actually going against the authority of God, the government that God authorized for this nation, which is the Constitution, they're the ones who are actually going against it.
Well, it's interesting, yeah. If you think of it in terms of, if you look at Romans 13 in terms of it speaking to, say, President Obama, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves.
Yes.
Speaking to President Obama, that he's the one that is rebelling against our authority, which is governed by the Constitution,
exactly right,
which is set up by divine providence.
Now, with that in mind, and this is where we're going, because we have somebody from one of the campaigns that is supposedly going to be calling here shortly. Keeping that in mind, we as Christians understand that we are the government.
Right.
It's not the elected officials. We entrust them with that sword, but we entrust them to do godly things with it. And what are godly things? And we have to look at things. Some people will sit there and say, well, social justice. Well, I can sit there and biblically rip their version of social justice up completely. It's not there. We see a difference between helping the poor and letting the slothful go hungry. Okay, those who just don't want to work for the purpose that they're too lazy, we know they should go hungry. All right, but those that are truly poor, we should help.
Right.
Okay, there's a big difference there, and we live in a society in this nation where we promote slothfulness, we promote laziness in this society, and it's wrong. That
right.
is not correct.
Because we've taken away the help that used to be called charity, and it's now government assistance.
Right.
So even the good people don't have the incentive to be charitable, because you say, well, look, I give so much of my money in taxes to the government.
How were they able to accomplish those things that got us away? You know how they did it? They did it through saying that you and I were, if we disagreed with that, then that we hated poor people.
Yeah.
And so what it does is it is a veto of the Constitution by public opinion, which has been joined by the media of this country to paint anybody that wants to go through the Constitution as being mean and mean-spirited, and their motivation for doing this is because they hate people. And this is what against the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. They make you go against that First Amendment by saying that you are hateful and you want to starve people to death. These are the things that these people have said about people that don't want to continue corrupting the morals of the people of the country and making them live off others instead of living off of their own God-given talents.
So as we look at our candidates, and this is why I wanted to do this early on, and I called and talk to you in depth about this. Excuse me. We're early on into the political cycle. We have a lot of candidates, as you pointed out. We need to start applying the litmus test to each of these candidates. Okay. Donald Trump, he came out and he promised to make this nation great again. Listen to what he has to say. Just don't jump up just because he is an outsider coming in. Don't jump on the bandwagon until you understand what he stands for. And same with Cruz, same with Carson, so everyone. Yeah. Apply a standard that sits there and say, how is he on the sanctity of your life? Folks, I'm sorry, if you do not recognize the sanctity of life, the people you're representative of mean nothing to you. You know, that's the truth. If they don't care about life, how do they care about anyone else?
Right.
All right. It's
and
that
the
simple.
thing is that the reason why he resonates with people, Donald Trump, and the outsider image resonates with people is because they understand that the laws of this land, which is the Constitution, it's just been shredded for the last 8 years. And the reason why they're able to shred it, again, is that alliance between the media and the Democrat Party, and that's why they're the fifth column.
Let me just you talking about shredding the Constitution. A guy goes into a gun-free zone. There's a law against the gun-free zone, right? You can't take a gun into a gun-free zone. Right. Someone takes a gun into a gun-free zone and kills a lot of people. That law, that gun-free zone, still exists, right? Mm-hmm. Right. He just violated. Well, now we're going to kind of flip it around. We still have a Constitution, and just because the Democrats want to shred it, the Constitution is still the authority that governs this country, making us the government, and therefore it is not shredded, and we have got to stand up and finally say enough's enough.
The Constitution is no good unless somebody protects it. And that's what all of those government officials have been sworn to on their oath of office, that they will protect and defend that Constitution.
Right.
And what do we see? Every major legislation that has been proposed in the last couple of years that have changed the social fabric of this country has been through the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has laid down these laws, and they are unconstitutional if you look at them. If you look at them, there's no way that the health care law should have been judged constitutional because of the fact that Judge Roberts wrote changed the law and wrote it.
Right, but I'm not going to give a pass to the executive or the legislative branches of government either, though. I don't think the Supreme Court is the sole source of all of our problems because
but they defer. They do.
Well,
and
the
George
executive
Bush, if you remember,
taken undue control over parts of the government that they have no control over, and the Congress has become
can right that wrong. They
cowards.
can right that wrong.
Let me show.
Well, they could.
Yeah.
Basically, you're talking about the Democrats trying to shred. I'll sit there and say the Constitution's still there.
Yeah.
It's just how people are viewing it. They're putting it to the side, and it shouldn't be.
Well, when I say shred, you know what shred is. Right. The document is still there, but it's in a million pieces.
Right. So, but just to show you what's happening here. You brought up same-sex marriage. Yeah. That's another thing we should look at. You know, how does this person stand on being able to do they confirm sin is okay, or do they say no, sin is wrong, and therefore, I mean, it's okay to call something that's wrong, right?
Right.
So
it should be. But if we didn't live in a politically correct world, it would be.
Exactly right.
For same-sex marriage to happen by the Supreme Court, what they had to do is redefine a word, marriage.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so what they had to do is to say, we are going to make same-sex marriage constitutional by redefining the meaning of a word.
Well, they also redefined the word ruling and made it become law because
exactly
it isn't a
Right.
law.
Exactly right.
It's a ruling.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So here we have now, and this is how they're going to do it. They're going to sit there, and they do it with the Bible. It goes back. I mean, liberalism in theology. The Germans were great for that. I mean, I have some German heritage. You can tell by my last name, Deitering. We've always been a comforting people. they're the ones who started introducing liberalism into theology, and they did this by redefining things. Well, a miracle's not a miracle. Well, yes, it is. Okay, it is. And when you read it, and I can have these debates all day long with theologians, but this is how liberalism always works: is they have to redefine a set meaning.
Well, yeah, and what you said about a ruling as instead of a law. Again, they redefined, and this is what the Democrats said. Look, just recently you hear Obama's people have come up and said that they're going to redefine the word juvenile delinquent, and now it's something else. They're saying that it's a juvenile. That stigmatizes people, and this is where again I'm saying to you that the media is cause for that. Every year they come up and tell you about words that are acceptable and words that have changed and all of that.
Right.
Every year, and we buy this stuff. We
don't buy it. We don't buy it.
Well, we don't, but
the
overall
a number of
ignorant-
people do buy into it because of the manipulation. But here, Phil, I just want to say that in the midst of everything that's going on, we had in areas very conservative people during this midterm election get elected too.
Yes, we
so
did.
during
Yes,
a
we did.
midterm,
That's really-
and again, and that's why I say it's a struggle going on both sides. So it looked like that because they had a top position that they winning, but they not, because on the ground we have a lot of a lot of accomplishments that's going on the ground level.
Well, that's what the whole theme of the show is this morning. What you're saying about there's an opportunity here. Now, what's coming from the top? The people that are going to represent us for the next 4 years, do they have a purpose? What are they trying to accomplish? We still don't know. And we've had 3 debates. We don't know exactly what they want to do. We are coming up on a break, and if you'd like to join in this conversation, that number is 734-822-1600, and we'll be back after these messages.